first few meal plans, I was like, wow, I was really carb heavy. My portions were completely out of control. I was eating enough for probably 2 grown men. And I knew what I should be eating, but I think I just needed that help and to set me up in the structure and calculating the macros.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Taddia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Taddia.
Welcome to another edition of nationally syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. Thanks so much for being with us. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you coming in wherever you may be, watching or listening, regardless. Thank you so much for being here and tuning in, being a part of our True Farm Life community. Today we have a special treat. I'm going to offer the behind the scenes of some of our results that we've seen from Deanne, a member from our MAP program. This is our Metabolism Accelerator Program. We haven't done this before, but I thought it was worth sharing because she started at a place where many of you may be and wanted to get to a place where many of you would like to get. And she's got some really cool insights. I like her attitude and her humor, and there's really so much to offer here, and I wanted to bring, or maybe just shine some light on it, because I feel like a lot of times we feel like there's no way out, like we're stuck in this position in life and we don't know where to go or what to do or how to get started. So I thought, instead of me explaining her story, why not bring her on and explain, and she can explain in her own words exactly what it was like to go through a program, get started, like not really have any idea, not necessarily having any idea of what she was getting into, because like many of our clients, she hasn't been involved in a program before. The vast majority of people will never fully commit to a full-on fitness program. They just dabble, right? Like they dabble in free YouTube videos. They buy a gym membership in January and go for a couple months. You don't really embrace the full program of what does it look like to have a real coach that can offer accountability, that can offer customized meal plans and workouts. It's just rare. And I believe the industry is growing. And I really think that the at-home type of market is growing as well. And probably the gym, like the conventional type of gym, a lot of times, a lot of places people are taking steps back from because they've tried that so many times in the past. And in my opinion, and many others, it doesn't really work. That's not what the industry was built around or what it was built for. And that's not the results that we hear from our clients. So at any rate, this is a super interesting show. I'd love to share this with you. Deanne went from dabbling. She didn't really have many challenges with exercise, I should say. Like, she's self-motivated. She can get her exercises in. We did work on a program for her, but it was really the food, and we kind of specialize in food and nutrition and counting calories and balancing macros, which I believe we talk about throughout this interview, but it's certainly worth mentioning or noting, having a listen to see where Deanne was at, because that may be where you're at. And then as you move forward throughout the interview, maybe you'll see her as she progresses. I love her progress pictures. If you haven't seen her progress pictures, you got to check them out. So truefarmlife.com or facebook.com/Drew Taddia. We have them up there. And she looks like her first picture, like picture this, someone that's kind of like a little bit dazed. She's not like exactly sure. This is her first progress picture, mind you, of week 1. And she's like, not really sure what I got myself into, kind of excited, kind of scared. And then her progress picture of she's dropped 20 pounds. You can see her abs, and she'll tell you that she hasn't seen her abs in 10 years since she had kids, since before her kids. And she just looks absolutely fantastic. Her hands on her hips. She looks confident, completely different person, an amazing transformation, which again is one of the reasons I wanted to share this with you, to offer hope and inspiration and let you know there is a way out if this is something you may be looking for. At any rate, that's what we got for you. So sit back and enjoy. We got all that coming up.
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Taddia.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. I'm excited for you to share some of your story maybe, and then some of your results.
Awesome.
Are you excited too?
Yes.
I can tell. So why don't you tell us? Okay, don't worry about the questions. I'm a questions person. I'm just going to ask you a bunch of questions, and then you feel free to answer.
Sure.
So tell us. So before you were working with us, what was life like? You can tell us about your lifestyle, nutrition, fitness. What was happening before you're like, this is a program I want to start with these guys.
I would say like in my 20s and 30s, high school, all that. I was very athletic. Played sports. I always had a gym membership. Then I had my kids early 30s, and I lost the baby weight, but then I found, they were about 4 or 5, and then my nutrition kind of started falling off. I wasn't going to the gym anymore. And I easily packed on about another 30 pounds in a couple years' time.
And what was that like? You didn't really notice it? It was just kind of a slow increase?
Well, I did not weigh myself for about 2 years because I didn't want to know. So I kind of was just, in total denial. I knew my clothes were getting tighter. I didn't feel myself. I've always been a certain weight and been like either yoga or the gym or kind of athletic around that way. And yeah, I think I was in denial. I knew I was packing on the weight.
You just didn't really want to know.
Exactly.
So before you started working with us, you actually lost some weight.
Yeah. So it all started, I was actually outside doing some stuff, and my husband was being a creep and took a photo of me for giggles and sent it to me. I mean, he had never mentioned my weight, like never said, "Oh, I noticed." Like, he's not like that. And he sent it to me, and I looked at the photo and I thought, wow, is that what I look like? It was not good. And it was a wake-up call for me, I think. So yeah, he needed to drop a bit of weight too. So we cut carbs. We're really carb heavy. So, and he lost about 20 pounds in 4 weeks. I dropped about 10 pounds on my own doing that. And then it kind of just stalled out. And I was like, I still need to lose weight. And yeah, I was watching you guys. Well, because I purchased your products for the last few years, and I was watching your stories and seeing the MAP program. And for me, it was like seeing all the results, like how much weight people like were actually losing. And then, yeah, I think I messaged you and jumped on a call, and that's how it started.
And here we are.
Yeah.
So did you take a picture of your husband when he needed to lose weight?
I'm sure I can find one.
Okay. So, all right. So from there, you're like, okay, we had a conversation and you're like, I want to join this program. So what was your initial experience? Or you kind of onboarded, jumped in with 2 feet? What was your process early on, I suppose? Or experience, I guess is what I'm asking.
I thought it was great. I mean, I started gardening recently, and I had tons of produce here, and it was like the meal plans fit. Like I had to buy protein, I think. And I was utilizing everything from the garden, money. Yeah, it just seemed to all click. It was perfect.
So what was your thought process when it came to the nutrition? Because for other people, because some people are like not really sure. You know what was interesting? We heard from someone recently that said, I thought I was eating well, and then I looked at your meal plan. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got a lot of improvements to make. What was your thought process when you started to go through our meal plan and then started to follow along and have a better idea of what macros look like and a proper calorie count?
Yeah, the first few meal plans, I was like, wow, I was really carb heavy. My portions were completely out of control. I was eating enough for probably 2 grown men. Yeah. And I mean, I think I knew what I should be eating, but I think I just needed that help and to set me up in the structure and, and calculating the macros, right? I mean, I didn't have any idea how to do that, but fruit, for instance, I thought you could have as much fruit as you wanted. But yeah, it's a half cup.
Moderation, right? I don't want people to think they can't have fruit, because we get these comments all the time like, oh, I can't have fruit, or I can't have veggies that are high in sugar, like carrots. And I'm like, carrots and fruit are not the reason you're overweight.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I think the biggest thing was like my portions. And it's nice how everything was just, everything's divided up for you, calculated right down to the last tablespoon. So takes that guesswork out.
I thought that was interesting because Dorothy and I had that conversation about her. She was the same way. She was eating as much as me, and I'm quite a bit bigger. And she likes to eat. And we was like, sometimes there's a competition of like, oh, you ate all that. Sometimes she'd eat more than me. And I didn't realize how common it was until you said that. And then I've had a couple other clients say that as well. But so you would eat as much as your husband, or maybe more.
Right. And he's like construction worker, physical all day, burning the calories. And I just find, men can lose weight a lot quicker. I don't know why. Why is that, Drew?
Doesn't seem fair, does it?
No, it's not.
So, okay. So you got a better handle of nutrition in particular, and then you started working out. So I know that's not a huge struggle for you. What is, how are you able to stay on track with getting your workouts in?
First thing in the morning. I like that quiet time. I've always gotten up since I had kids, and I always get up before they do. I like to have like an hour to myself, enjoy a coffee, just enjoy the quiet. So now I schedule that in, right? I'll do my workouts first thing in the morning before they even get up and before my day starts. Because I find once the day starts going, then it's hard to try and fit it in somewhere. I was one of those people, though, that thought you had to do so much cardio, like, 45 to an hour of cardio. And I barely do any cardio anymore. Maybe 20 minutes on the bike here or there. But yeah, it's interesting to see like the resistance training and how you can get results from that instead of killing yourself doing cardio for an hour. Yes,
that's such a good point. And I'm glad that you not just realized that, but you said that, because I hear it all the time as people are like, cardio. And I'm like, stop the cardio. Like, I used to work at a gym and I'd see people hour and a half sweating buckets. And then the next day, and it'd be a couple months until they disappeared because they never changed. Their body looked exactly the same. And I'm just like, if you would just go to the resistance training section, you would see more results.
It's crazy. Only 3 days a week. Like, I thought if you were doing weights or something, you'd have to do like 5-6 days a week, 3 days a week. And yeah, I've seen really good results.
So for you, let's talk about your results for a little bit here, because you look fantastic. You said, what did you say? You haven't seen your abs in 10 years?
Yeah, since before my kids.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what is that like? Tell our listeners what it feels like to be where you are now.
It's crazy because I'm in my 40s now. And like when I was in my 20s, I thought it was all downhill after 40, But I honestly think I'm in the best. Like, I probably weighed this much back in my 20s, but I mean, I was unhealthy. I was drinking and smoking and, all those bad habits. But yeah, I think it's crazy. I never thought I'd be here. Like this healthy, this in shape, eating this good.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a powerful message, because I saw that early on. I moved away and I was in playing sports. So I'd come back in better shape or stronger or bigger or like more muscle. And I'd see my friends like slowly declining. It was like 25, 30, 35. And it was all downhill. It was like they're getting married and having kids. And then I'd come back and they'd have these pot bellies. And I'm like, what's happening? We used to play
dad
sports
bod
together. What's that?
The dad bod.
Yeah, it was full on dad bod. And it was just like such a shocking experience because it was over time. And then I just felt like so odd, because I always felt like I had this internal feeling that as you get older, your body, you shouldn't expect your body to age and or drastically decline. Of course, we're going to age, and some things are more challenging than others to prevent. But we have such this limiting mindset of like, even like some people it's at 30, right? Like, oh, life's over. I'm married and kids. And for you, it was like, okay, maybe 40 was, I'm not going to get in any better shape. So I think that's really cool. Like the place you're in now, and you can like represent those people that are like, hey, change your lifestyle, make better choices, and you can be in better shape than you were 20 years ago.
Right.
So, okay. So for you, you're working out consistently, and you're following a meal plan. And then, so give us an idea of a couple other, I know you said energy, any other results that you found in particular?
My sleep has definitely improved. That was another reason I kind of contacted you guys, because I kind of felt like my hormones were starting to get out of whack. And I don't know if that was like part of all the junk I was eating or whatever, but I was consistently waking up in the middle of the night, like from 2 to 4 a.m., just wide awake. And, and I've noticed on the program, my sleep, I don't wake up anymore in the middle of the night. I'm sleeping a lot better. My complexion's a lot better. I feel like my hormones are more balanced. All around really good results. Not just the scale and the weight, right? Like I feel like overall.
What I like is your progress pictures of, and I don't know if you can tell if it's hard to like take a step back and look, but your first pictures are like, you look very uncertain or unsure. Like it's almost like your face is like, what have I got myself into?
Yeah.
And then your pictures now, like, my gosh, like you just like beam confidence. You got your hands on your hips, your arms are all chiseled. You got your abs. I'm like, wow, that's so cool to see.
Oh yeah, I look back at some of those beginner photos, and you're right. I'm like, oh my God, it's really hard when you don't have that confidence, and you got to take those photos. But I'm so glad I did, because I look back now and I'm like, wow, it's the photos are what really motivates me. I think. I mean, if I didn't have those, then you're just going by a number or your measurements. But yeah, to see the photos, it's crazy.
It's powerful, because a lot of times people like, I don't want to take photos. Like we have clients that come in and they're like, no, not taking photos, don't want to see them. And I'm like, that's why you need to take them. But when we do our measurements, those of you that don't know, we do measurements through pictures, we do measurements through scale, and then we do measurements through a tape measure. But a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm just going to use the scale. And I'm like, how did that work for you in the past? Right? It doesn't work, because that's not the most accurate measure of success. So for you to be able to see those pictures and us to be able to track them as you've been working through us, it's like, it's so clear. Like, push everything else aside and just look at your pictures, and it's like, you can't deny those results.
Yeah.
So what was, so supplementation is something. So for us, on our MAP program, you don't have to use supplements. It's not one of those pills, potions, powders. Programs, not a shake diet thing for our audience here. How did the supplements work out for you?
Well, I don't know if you remember, but I told you on the first call we had, I said, I'm not doing shakes. I said, I don't like them. I don't like smoothies. I said, don't even try. And you're like, oh, okay, well, and here I am. That's the thing I look forward to. When I don't have a smoothie on my meal plan, I'm like, oh, I don't have one this week. The protein I love, and I've tried many proteins over the years. And just always had problems with, the taste or digestive issues. I'm a really big fan of that. I never thought I'd say that. The magnesium is going great. I've started my children on it. I've taken it for years, even before I started the MAP program. And then, the activated charcoal. I really like that for when I'm not so good on the meal plan and I have a couple of treats. I find it really helps me detox. Those are good to have. Yeah. And the greens. The greens are perfect too.
Yeah.
I've had good results with those.
Your kids taking the greens or no?
No, they're,
kids.
What is that? I'm working on it.
Yeah. So tell us about the accountability aspect. So accountability, we have some group support, I don't like to call it optional, but we've moved to more individualized coaching. How is accountability helpful? Because, we of course, we start off with our calls and we work through some ups and downs, and here we are.
For me, that was a big one. Yeah. If nobody was keeping tabs on me, I don't think I would have had the results that I had. And it's also nice, like the Facebook group. I like, you're going through the same thing as all these other women are going through. You have people to talk to, you can bounce ideas off of them. Yeah, I really like that.
Awesome. I don't have too many more questions. Is there anything you want to share that we missed, or anything you want to share for someone that was like on the fence, like, maybe I should do this, maybe I shouldn't? Any thoughts around that?
I just, like, personally, I think it was one of the best decisions I made. I don't, since having kids, I didn't really spend a lot of money on myself. And I would push my needs to the side, and, I wasn't taking care of myself. I packed on that weight. And then finally I made that decision where I was like, okay, well, if I want to be a good mom, good spouse, feel good about myself, then I really need to do something about this. And I think it was one of the best choices I made in a long time.
So why did you make that decision? Why were you like, okay, I'm going to do this now?
I didn't feel myself. And I felt like it was either I was going to keep going and just keep eating junk food and like numbing myself out and, with a bag of chips and cupcakes and, just keep going and give up. Or I had to make a, decision like, okay. And I needed some help, right? I had lost 10 pounds on my own, but then I was stuck. I was like, hey, I can't just cut carbs and expect to lose another 20. I need like proper nutrition and some exercise. And I think, I just made that decision.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you made that.
Jump in, right?
What's that?
You just got to jump in. You can't be on the fence, I guess.
Well, you know what? One of the things for you is like you jumped in with 2 feet from the get-go, and you were very structured. And like I tell everyone, like we have a plan. Like we know this works without question, and we'll do everything to help you stay on track, but it's up to you. Like we'll carry 49 bricks, you carry 51. We can't do it for you. But for you in particular, you were able to follow a step-by-step process, and you're able to stay very closely on track. Is there anything in particular or any reason you're able to do that? I'm very stubborn, and and I wanted the results, right? I didn't want to like join a program and half just kind of put in half the effort and see half the results. And it's like, okay, well, I signed up for something. I'm going to give it all I got. And you guys made it really easy. I mean, the app, you can work out from home. The meal plans are sent to you every week. It's that was a big thing for me too, was the meal prep, because I mean, moms are busy, right? And that was where I think I was, I would get into trouble. I'd be starving, go to the pantry or the fridge, grab whatever I could that was quick. And now I go, my meals are sitting there waiting for me. It's so nice. And there's no thinking about it. There's no crushing a bag of chips and, calling that lunch. Right.
So and that has saved me a lot of time, a lot of hassle. I really enjoy that part. I never meal prepped before this, and it is awesome.
Yeah, that's interesting because sometimes we run into a lot of people that haven't meal prepped, like didn't really know how to meal prep. I think it's cool that you were able to, I feel like people, when they sign up for a program, they feel like they're going to have to spend a bunch of money on like either packaged food or food they're not used to, or specialty food. So for you to be able to start meal prepping and easily stay on track, that's a pretty good experience to share.
And I have noticed quite a bit that like saving a lot of money on groceries, because you're only using what you need for that week, right? You're only purchasing and some of the stuff like a bag of rice at Costco, that will last me months. or, stuff like that. And yeah. And I was worried about that too. I think that was one of my questions when I signed up. Is it weird food? Is it stuff like I'm never going to eat again? And it's not. It's just really healthy, normal food.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I start out with. I tell people they're kind of interested, like a meal, not really sure, following a meal plan. I said, look, we're going to save you money. And they're like, just very confused. And I said, well, it's a very simple process. Like, we're going to give you a meal plan and you buy what's on the meal plan. So you're not buying chips, cookies, pop. Like, you shouldn't be buying that anyways. Now that you have a specific meal plan to follow, you go to the grocery store and you get your ingredients. Then you're not buying food that's going to go bad in the fridge. So you're not wasting food. And then we teach, of course, we teach buying in bulk instead of individual items. So, oh my gosh. Sorry. It just makes so much sense, the step-by-step process of how we teach it. And it's great to hear from you and how you've been able to reap those benefits.
Yes. Thank you to you and Dorothy. I guess I couldn't have done it without you guys.
You're welcome. Well, you put in the work, and we're so grateful. We really are for people like you that give us inspiration. We're like someone like you that joins in the program, does exactly what they're told, and sees incredible results like you. We just get so much inspiration. Like, we can help anyone if they're willing to put in.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me on this little call. I know. Do you want to talk about, okay, I was going to let you go. You were, at first, you didn't want to share anything, right? I kind of bugged you about a call. I kind of bugged you about sharing pictures, and you're like, no. Do you want to tell us about the mental shift that you've experienced?
Yeah, I've always been like super shy, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously when I started with you guys, I was lacking confidence because I just didn't feel good about myself. I had packed on that weight and yeah. And, as I started working through, and even after I lost the 20 pounds, I was still like, no, like, I don't want to share it, and then I'm like, I should be proud. I put in the work, and, yeah, I think I finally, like, I kind of caught up a bit where I was like, okay, I should be really proud of my accomplishments, and I worked hard to do this. And yeah. And then I said, okay, sure, arm. Yeah.
Good for you. But I think that is like, we do mental training. That's not something we talked about specifically here, but with yourself, with our clients, with our group coaching calls, we work a lot on the mental aspect. And I thought it was just a really cool for you. Like, it was a nice transition, or another added benefit from, we always talk about how we've seen results from our body image or weight or pictures, but like even mentally and emotionally, you've been able to progress in a positive or healthier manner.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I remember in the beginning, you'd be like, can I share this? No way. Yeah. I can't believe. Yeah. That I'm here now.
I stopped asking. I don't want any of our people to feel uncomfortable. So I kind of stopped asking. I was like, you know what? I don't want to bug her or like scare her away. So I stopped. And then I was like, and I saw some of your later pictures. I'm like, my gosh, these are amazing. I got to share these. So I asked again with no expectations. And you're like, sure. And I'm like, excuse me? And so anyways, but at that moment, I was like, okay, like, her mind is starting to catch up with her body. And that's a big disconnect for a lot of people. When they lose a bunch of weight, they're not mentally advanced, or their mindset hasn't caught up with their body's results. So that's why so many go back to that place they were in as an overweight, unhealthy type of individual. So at any rate, it was really cool for you to improve in that area as well.
Yes, thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Okay, I'll leave you alone now. Thank you so much for joining us and for all your results. We really appreciate it.
Yes, no problem.
All right, so that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Exploring Mind and Body. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining this show, this interview, this different interview program from one of our clients, and in our MAT program, which is our Metabolism Accelerator Program. I don't know how often or how much I mentioned that within the interview itself, but if you're interested, you're looking to make some changes, and we can help out, shoot us a message. You can find us all over. So at any rate, I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you on the next one. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Taddia. in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Taddia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Taddia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.